What if I told you that your brain does not suddenly start declining at 30, but actually begins reorganizing itself in fascinating ways? Turning 30 is often treated like a biological deadline. Slower memory, reduced creativity, cognitive decline. But neuroscience paints a far more nuanced and surprisingly hopeful picture. Let's begin with structure.
Welcome to SciCuriousID, where curiosity meets science.
By our early 30s, certain regions of the brain begin to show gradual changes in volume. MRI studies show that the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and impulse control, slowly becomes thinner over time. This process is called cortical thinning. But thinning does not mean failure. In fact, some degree of pruning and refinement is part of normal brain optimization. The brain reduces redundant connections and strengthens frequently used pathways. It's like upgrading a network for efficiency. White matter, the brain's communication highways, also changes after 30. Research shows its integrity shifts across adulthood. Processing speed may subtly slow, not because intelligence drops, but because signal transmission becomes slightly less rapid. This is why you might occasionally feel that recalling a name takes longer than it did at 20. But here is the critical distinction: slower retrieval is not the same as memory loss. In fact, your accumulated knowledge, vocabulary, and life experience often continues to improve well into your 40s. Many studies show vocabulary peaks in middle adulthood. So while reaction speed may dip, wisdom often rises. Now let's talk about neuroplasticity. For years, scientists believed that adult brains were largely fixed. But research has shown that the brain remains adaptable throughout life. Even after 30, new neural pathways can form. Skills can be learned. Habits can be rewired. The brain is not a static machine. The hippocampus, essential for memory formation, may show gradual volume reductions with age. However, lifestyle factors strongly influence this trajectory. Aerobic exercise and sleep quality are vital. Learning new skills has been linked to maintaining hippocampal health. In other words, biology is not destiny. Another fascinating shift after 30 involves emotional regulation. Responses may become more regulated over time. Older adults often display stronger connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Researchers call this the positivity effect, the tendency to prioritize meaningful experiences over novelty-seeking. So why does the brain decline after 30's myth persist? Because we tend to measure youth by speed. But cognitive performance is multidimensional. Vocabulary and strategic thinking often remain stable or improve. There is also something called cognitive reserve. It refers to the brain's resilience against age-related change. Education, intellectual engagement, and social interaction build neural redundancy. This means your brain develops alternative pathways to perform tasks if others weaken. People with higher cognitive reserve often show fewer symptoms of decline, even if structural changes are present. And here is the most reassuring fact: normal aging is not dementia. One is typical, the other is pathological. So what actually changes after 30? Processing speed may slow. Certain regions thin. White matter shifts. But emotional stability strengthens. Experience accumulates. Neural networks reorganize. Wisdom deepens. Your brain is not shutting down. It is adapting. And the trajectory is shaped by how you live. Regular exercise increases blood flow and neurotrophic factors like BDNF. Sleep supports glymphatic clearance and memory consolidation. It is the brain's cleaning cycle. Learning new skills stimulates synaptic growth. Social connection strengthens empathy circuits. After 30, your brain becomes less impulsive and more selective. Less reactive and more reflective. Perhaps the real question is not whether your brain changes after 30. It clearly does. The real question is, are you guiding those changes or ignoring them? Science suggests something powerful. Age does not simply reduce capacity, it reshapes it. Your brain is a masterpiece in progress. So now I'd like to ask you, have you noticed any mental changes since turning 30? Slower recall, deeper insight, or better emotional control? Share your experience in the comments.
Thanks for watching SciCuriousID. Until next time.